Okay, so we are going to start now. ये अपने पास मुझे देना. Okay, so just open this Excel sheet. उधर वो तीन कौन बैठे हैं? They are not in this class? Okay, so we start now. So I'm just showing you an Excel sheet, and then I'll give an exercise to you. Okay, after I explain this, and you have to do that exercise individually, not group. Okay, fine. So this is basically an income statement, forecasted income statement of a company. First three columns are actuals, and then the next 5 columns are estimated. Okay, fine. So first we talk about revenue. What is the total revenue of the company? Forecasting करा है ना अभी तक कहीं? पहले क्लास में कभी करा होगा forecasting? हाँ? वैसे कैसे कहाँ करा है? अच्छा वैसे करा आपने कोई मतलब for not in the course? Okay, fine. So basically, what we do is, we are talking about, calculating the free cash flows of the company. How do we calculate the free cash flows? So we have a company, we have the history of the company, okay? Company has done some kind of revenue. It can be a new company, it can be an old company. So if it's an old company, it will have a history, okay? So the last 3 years numbers are given, how much the company has done in terms of its revenue and in terms of its expenses, and top line and bottom line, all is given to you. Okay. Now, when we are going to value a company, so we need to calculate the forecasted financials of the company, and then calculate the cash flows from the forecasted revenue statement, okay, or income statement. So the revenue now, I have given the numbers here, but you will be given an Excel sheet which will be blank, okay, with an exercise which I also shared with you, and it carries some numbers, but you have to all change the numbers. It is just a guideline, okay. So you have to put your own numbers, whatever you feel like. It can be lakhs, it can be crores, it can be in thousand, whatever, okay. Preferably it should be in lakhs at least, okay. Then you have to estimate the future, okay. Maybe the past is given to you and you have to estimate the future. So even the past numbers you change and estimate the future, okay, fine. So we'll revisit the template later on. So here the revenue numbers are given to you. So company has done in March 23, that means for that year, the company has done a revenue of 2,56,000 crores, okay, or 2,56,000, 2,56,000, not it is in, these are actual numbers, okay. 2,62,425 is the revenue for the year March 24, and March 25 the revenue was 3,27,000. Okay, fine. So then we estimate it. Okay, so I have assumed that there is a 18% increase in revenue in the first year. That year the company is doing some kind of a business which is going to flourish. So company is going to do 18% revenue, and you can assume your own number. Okay, this is just my this thing. And then next year the revenue is going to grow, but at a lower pace at 12.6, then 9.3, and then a stable revenue. In the final, it will going to grow at only 3%, because as the revenue grows, it can't keep growing at a faster pace. Okay, initially if it's a new company, the company is going to grow faster, and then over the time the company's turnover is going to grow at a stable pace. Of course, you can take your own assumption. You can think the company is going to grow for at least next 10 years at a good pace. So that's your own assumption. Okay. Then the cost of sales. Okay. So cost of sales will be basically the raw material expenses, other expenses. Okay. So all those expenses has also been given to you, and the cost of sales have been assumed as 63%. Okay. In past it was 66%. Then I assumed that the cost of sales will be 63% of the revenue. Okay. Fine. So I can just show you the formula here. So here you can just, so it is basically 63% of the revenue. Is that okay? So, so you can assume some percentage. Okay. Like suppose now generally the cost of sales will normally remain, just few percentage plus and minus. It can't, it has to be a few percentage of the total revenue. Okay. So revenue is growing, the cost of sales is going to grow, but in terms of percentage to sales, it will remain almost same. Okay. Unless there is something big happens. Okay. The input raw material cost goes up. Okay. But then the revenue is also going to go up a little bit, and it will show about a same percentage of kind of cost of sales. But things can change. Okay, for any company. Company can become less profitable, so cost of sales percentage can go up also. Okay. But here I have assumed 63%. So in your assumption you can take any. Then I have calculated the gross profit, basically, which is the revenue minus the cost of sales. Okay. So if I put my number here and then show this is the cost of sales. Is that okay? Cost of sales is 3,27,000 minus 2,07,000. So it is 1,20,000. So this is just a formula. Okay. Then gross margin. How much is the margin of the company? How much company makes profit. So that also remains quite stable. So it has remained stable at 37%. The actual was in 2025 37. So I have assumed that the margins are not going to make a big change in the forecasted period. Okay, fine. So then we talk about the expenses. So have you brought your laptop? So then we have the other expenses. Like we have the salary and wages, general admin, selling expenses, distribution expenses, depreciation. So this I have assumed certain number and it has been growing. Okay. So you can make your own assumption. Fine. You can link it to the sales percentage, or you can just put a number and then keep growing a little bit. Okay. But it should be, synced with the number. Okay. Because the salary wages will grow as the revenue grows. So companies, and the increment will happen, new people will join. So assume some number. It's just a template. Okay. Fine. Then we arrive at the operating profit of the company, okay, which is basically the 1,43,000 minus all this. Okay. Sorry. So if I say EBIT, then EBIT is also a number which is calculated on the basis of your gross profit minus all the expenses. Okay. Fine. So then we have the EBITDA margin. EBIT margin. So this is also more or less, it was 8%. So there is not a big of variation here. Okay. Here also the variation cannot be very high. The margins, the gross margins and the EBIT margins have to be within a certain limit. Okay. Unless there is a reason for it. Okay. That the company has launched a new product. It has become more profitable. It will add to more margin, something like that. Unless you have that kind of a. Then the finance cost. Okay. So finance cost is assumed as 7,000 rupees. So it's growing up and remain constant in the. So company has not taken any loan as such, which means the company has not gone for taking a loan. Okay. So profit before tax, which is basically the EBIT minus the finance cost. Profit income tax is given, and income tax also is remaining as 15%. Okay. So income tax is 15%. So if you take the income tax and divide by, let's talk about here and just see, it is also the profit before tax and income tax. So income tax is 15% of the profit before tax. So that means company is paying 15% tax on whatever profit it has earned. So you can also keep this number almost the same. Okay. Then we have the net profit. Okay, and then we have the net profit margin. So if you look at the net profit margin also, which was 4.5%, then it became 4.8, then 5.7 in the last financial year, which was actual. Then I have just changed it to a little bit higher. Okay, as the sales is growing, some percentage point will go up. Okay, not a big this thing. Okay, so this is the company's overall profitability statement. So I'm just going to repeat that again for the students who have joined late. So what we are doing is that we are trying to understand, because our subject is valuation, okay, and we are doing intrinsic valuation. Okay, we have done the relative valuation, now we have moved on to intrinsic valuation. So which means that we are going to calculate the real worth of the company. Okay, how much it should be based on its fundamentals. How the revenue is going to grow, what will be the profit of the company. On the basis of that, we are calculating the value of the company, which is more proper and more authentic, more systematic. Okay, unless we can always, because it's based on some estimations, so estimations can always go here and there. Apart from that, the mechanism, the methodology is very, very scientific. Okay, because we are trying to calculate the company value, the company's value based on its fundamentals, based on its revenue, turnover, cost, expenses. So what we have to do is basically, so whenever you look at a company, okay, whenever you see a company, any company in India which is listed, whether it is Reliance or Wipro or TCS, so it has numbers are given to you. So what we do is, the analysts, what they do is, they calculate the forecasted forecast of that company. How much the company's revenue will grow, what will be its top line, what will be its bottom line. So all the companies, all the analysts, they are trying to project the revenue and the profit of the company. Based on that, we calculate the value of the company, value of the share. First value of the company, then we convert that value of the company to value per share. Okay, and then we say whether this company is overvalued or undervalued with regard to at what price it is trading in the market. So we arrive at a value. Okay, like suppose we arrive at a value of Reliance at say 2,000 rupees, and today it is trading around 1,400. So we say that's undervalued. Okay, because as per the intrinsic valuation, as per our projections of the profitability and the cash flows, the company's value should be approximately 2,000 rupees currently, but it is valued at say 1,500. So the share price is going to go up. So recommendation is that you should buy it. So before we look into the actual companies which are listed in the stock exchange, we are just trying to see how it works. Okay, if we look at just a kind of a model, and then we can always replicate that to the actual companies. Okay, now I will just explain. So you have to build up this kind of a income statement. Okay, based on what I have done. Okay, you can make some different assumptions you want. Okay, and write down those assumptions. Okay, and share in your worksheet when you do it. Okay, so that I can read them. Okay, fine. Like suppose I have taken that cost of sales, like for example, the revenue growth is going to be like this. In past, the revenue growth was very less, but then it went up to 25%. Then I said 18%. Then it will come down gradually. Okay, so you can make say that it will go up also. Some people can say that the company is going to expand. Okay, and do more business. So here I am assuming the company is not adding more capacity. So that means there will be a kind of a drop in the revenue in terms of percentage of increase. But the revenue is going to grow up, but not that steep as it has done in the 25 and 26. So you can make your assumptions. Okay. Then the cost of sales, which I have assumed 63%, which is the raw material cost, the all other costs divided by sales. So that is 63. Okay, fine. So then we have the gross profit margin. So margin has more or less been maintained by the company. Okay, fine. Company cannot increase the margin. If the company increases the margin, the company selling price will go up, because the competition will not allow that to do. Okay, the competition is always looking for how to give something cheaper. Okay, fine. So the competition will never allow you to a luxury of increasing your prices and increasing more margins. So you have to maintain your margins, or the margins are going to go down. So most of the companies, they work on their cost. So they try to reduce the cost. If the if the selling price is getting reduced because of the competition, so they will work out to reduce the cost, so that they earn the same kind of a margin. At least the margin is protected. Okay, fine. So likewise, I have projected all the numbers. Okay, like all the expenses, salary, depreciation, everything. Okay, so then we have the ultimate, we arrive at net profit of the company. So whenever you look at the company's financials, so you will find the company last bottom line will be the net profit of the company. Is that okay? Now from this bottom line, we are going to calculate the cash flows of the company. Okay, what we do is this is very important, which I don't think that you have done it earlier. Many of you might have done. So there is a method, there is a mechanism through which you can calculate the cash generated by the company. It's not like cash flows which are available when you look at the balance sheet and to the screener and you find the cash flows. So these are not like that. So this is done through a something different way. Okay, slightly different way. Okay, almost, but the assumptions are almost the same. It looks like similar, but it's slightly different. Okay. So what we take is, we take EBIT. So EBIT is given here. So EBIT is given here. So I'm just putting the EBIT again here. Okay. So whatever EBIT company has generated from the top, I have put in this line. Okay. Just copy and paste. Okay. Like for example, I can just show you like EBIT. So it is coming from the top. Okay. Fine. So this EBIT has been repeated here. So then we know that the tax is 15%. Okay, fine. So 1 minus T will be 85%. Is that okay? So if I do 1 minus T, it will be 85%. Okay, because the tax is 15, so 1 minus T will be 85%. Okay. So now I take EBIT, and what I do first, I am going to explain you why we do EBIT 1 minus T. Okay. What we do is that we do EBIT 1 minus T here. Okay. So whatever EBIT we have estimated, we are going to look at only the estimated now. Forget about the actuals. Now, since we are going to calculate what are the future cash flows of the company, so we look at the estimated. Okay. So I am just going to put here the top. So I am going to freeze the panes, top row. Okay. So here we have the EBIT. Okay. Fine. So please focus here. It is EBIT 1 minus T. If I hear anybody talking, he has to go out. Okay. Just focus, because this is the most important part. So EBIT 1 minus T. So this is EBIT. This is 1 minus T. So I shall show you the formulas here, which is this. Is that okay? Fine. So this is there. Then we add depreciation. So we are going to calculate the cash profit of the company. Okay. So we take EBIT, do EBIT 1 minus T. Okay. Why we do 1 minus T? I'll just tell you a simple reason, then I'll take you to my slides. Because the company's valuation should not be affected by the leverage. Okay. So some company has taken debt, some company has not taken debt. So we are assuming that company is not having any debt. Okay. So tax will be reduced from EBIT, not from PBT. Normally we calculate the profit before tax and then apply the tax rate and calculate the net profit. Here we are taking EBIT and doing 1 minus T. Okay. Assuming the company is not leveraged. Because the leverage should not affect the company's valuation. Okay. So this is a very important point when we are comparing two companies, because if suppose all the companies should be valued on the basis of that they are not leveraged, they are not taking any loans, though they might have taken it, because the valuation should not get impacted because the leverage. Just note this point, and I am going to elaborate further when I take you to the theory. Okay, is that okay? So what we do is we do EBIT 1 minus T, assuming here that the tax will be paid from EBIT and not from PBT. Is that okay? So that's a difference here. So then we are going to add depreciation, because depreciation is an expense which is not a cash expense. It's a charge. For the assets we purchase, we are going to charge a depreciation. It is not going to reduce the cash profit of the company. So we are going to add, because we want to convert the profit into cash. Okay. So the first thing is we do that. Then increase in working capital. Okay. Increase in working capital, which is the number given here. Okay. So what is working capital? Why we have, in this case we have reduced the working capital. Any idea here? Why we have reduced? Okay, just raise your hands if you know the answer. Just raise hand. You know. Anybody else knows that? Why we are making an adjustment for the working capital from the profit? The question is, why we are reducing the working capital, assuming that the working capital has gone up. But if the working capital has gone down, we will add it. Okay. But here we are assuming the working capital has gone up. So we are going to reduce it. Okay. Fine. And why we do that?
It is the amount required for day-to-day operations.
Yeah.
So the company needs this amount on a current basis.
Okay, ठीक है, that's good. Okay.
सर हमारा रेवेन्यू ग्रोथ तो कम हुआ,
हाँ,
तो वर्किंग कैपिटल रिक्वायरमेंट विल प्रोबेबली आउट ऑफ टोटल रेवेन्यू कम हो जाएगा।
अगर इसका थोड़ा बहुत एक्सप्लेनेशन थोड़ा कहीं ना कहीं नजदीक जा रहा है, बट आपका एक्सप्लेनेशन कहीं नहीं जा रहा। ओके, हाँ जी।
कैश फ्लो फ्रॉम ऑपरेशन
कैश फ्लो फ्रॉम
ऑपरेशन,
हाँ, आप निकालते हैं तो इंक्रीज इन वर्किंग कैपिटल करते हो ना, आपने कैश फ्लो बनाया है ना अपने में। यू हैव जस्ट इन अदर क्लासेस यू हैव कैलकुलेटेड द कैश फ्लो ऑफ द कंपनी। हैव यू डन दैट? हैव यू डन योर कैश फ्लोज? कैश फ्लो करा था, उसमें हम जो वर्किंग कैपिटल कम बढ़ जाता था वो कम कर देते थे कैश फ्लो निकालने के लिए। सो वाई वी आर डूइंग इट? वाई वी आर डूइंग इट? डू यू रिमेंबर दैट? पता है श्रुति, क्या हम वर्किंग कैपिटल को कम क्यों करते हैं फ्रॉम द प्रॉफिट? हाँ, कैश निकालने के लिए क्यों कम करते हैं? वो तो सही है, करते कम क्यों हैं? करते कम क्यों हैं? क्यों कम करते हैं? सो दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एंड वेरी इजी थिंग टू अंडरस्टैंड। आई डोंट नो व्हाई यू आर फॉरगेटिंग इट। आप क्यों भूल रहे हैं, मुझे समझ में नहीं आ रहा। देखो वर्किंग कैपिटल में क्या होता है, चलो एक आइटम बताओ वर्किंग कैपिटल की। करंट एसेट्स माइनस करंट लायबिलिटीज। करंट एसेट्स में क्या होता है? डेटर्स, इन्वेंट्री। ओके, अगर आपके डेटर्स बढ़ गए हैं, अगर आपके रिसीवेबल्स बढ़ गए हैं, और बढ़ेंगे ही रिसीवेबल, अगर आपकी सेल बढ़ेगी तो आपके रिसीवेबल बढ़ेंगे। अगर आप मानो कि यू आर गिविंग अ 30 days क्रेडिट टू योर कस्टमर्स, इफ योर सेल्स गोज अप योर रिसीवेबल्स विल आल्सो गो अप। बढ़ जाएंगे नहीं बढ़ेंगे? यू सी, प्लीज लिसन हियर। अब तो आपसे क्वेश्चन पूछा, आपको पता नहीं था, अब सुनने को तैयार नहीं हो आप। ओके, सी व्हेन योर सेल्स गो अप योर रिसीवेबल्स विल आल्सो गो अप। जैसे जैसे सेल बढ़ेगी आपकी, आपके कस्टमर जिनको आपने उधार पे दिया हुआ है वो अमाउंट भी बढ़ जाएगी। ओके, या तो वो बढ़ती है अगर आप पहले 1 महीने का उधार देते थे, अभी भी 1 महीने का देते हो। आप जो सेल करते हो उसको 1 महीने के बाद पैसा आता है, तब भी आता है, तब भी आता है सपोज, लेकिन फिर भी आपकी एब्सोल्यूट अमाउंट में डेटर्स बढ़ जाएंगे। क्यों? आपकी सेल बढ़ गई। ओके, आपके डेटर्स जब बढ़ गए तो इसका मतलब पैसा आपके पास आया नहीं, उतना पैसा नहीं आया। आपने सपोज 1 करोड़ की सेल्स करी और 50 लाख डेटर्स में हैं, तो आपके पास कैश कितना आएगा? 50 लाख ही। आई एम जस्ट आस्किंग अनदर वन क्वेश्चन, प्लीज आंसर मी। सपोज योर सेल्स वाज 50 lakhs and your receivables are 10 lakhs. How much cash you have got in that year?
5 lakhs.
Huh?
5.
No, listen to me again. Your sale was 50 lakh rupees and your receivable is 10 lakh rupees. Okay, 10 लाख के रिसीवेबल हैं, अभी लेने हैं आपको, मिलने हैं, और आपकी सेल्स 50 लाख की हुई थी, तो आपकी कैश कितना आएगा कंपनी के पास? कितना है? 40 लाख आएगा ना भाई। 50 लाख की आपने सेल करी, लेकिन 10 लाख आपके कस्टमर से मिला ही नहीं आपको, तो आपकी जो कैश प्रॉफिट है वो 40 लाख ही आएगा। बाकी तो आपके डेटर्स में पड़ा हुआ है ना। जब डेटर्स देंगे तभी तो आपका कैश बढ़ेगा, बैलेंस। और जैसे जैसे आपके डेटर्स बढ़ेंगे आपका कैश कम हो जाएगा। द डेटर्स गो अप, द कैश गोज डाउन। भाई आप सपोज मानो कि आपने अपनी सारी सेल जो थी उधार में कर दी, तो उस साल तो आपको कोई कैश आएगा ही नहीं, ठीक है ना, वो तो नेगेटिव हो जाएगी कैश। बट ऐसा नहीं होता, तो आपका कैश जो है वो कम जनरेट होता है एज योर रिसीवेबल्स गोज अप. सो मैं आपको अभी ये दिखाता हूँ कैसे आया था ये. अब आप नीचे जाइए, प्लीज गो डाउन, ओपन योर लैपटॉप एंड गो डाउन. आई हैव जस्ट मेड दिस समरी हेयर. वर्किंग कैपिटल कैसे निकाली हमने ये देखते हैं. ओके, लुक एट दिस. हमने कहा कि आपके जो डेटर्स हैं, आपके वर्किंग कैपिटल में क्या होगा, डेटर्स होगा, इन्वेंट्री होगा, रॉ मटेरियल होगा, फिनिश गुड्स होंगे, ऐसे होंगे कुछ. ठीक है, फाइन. तो अब आपके जो हैं डेटर्स जो हैं वो 30 डेज का क्रेडिट है, यानी आप 30 दिन का लोगों को उधार देते हो. ओके, तो मैंने ये फिगर निकाली, ये फिगर निकली हुई है, ये फिगर फॉर्मूला से निकली हुई है फ्रॉम द रेवेन्यू. व्हाट आई हैव डन, I have taken the total sales and divided this by 12. So that means the debtors were 27,300. At the end of the year, the debtors were, एक महीने का उधार देते हो 27,300 के debtors होंगे. Similarly, these are the debtors. Okay. So is the debtors going up? Please open. Are you in hostel or are you staying up?
I'm a day scholar.
Day scholar.
I was stuck in traffic.
You are?
I was stuck in traffic.
You are?
I was
Stuck in traffic.
अच्छा अच्छा, stuck up in traffic. कहाँ पर?
um,
ट्रैफिक तो है ही नहीं, सब खाली है.
नहीं ट्रैफिक था.
There is no traffic today. There's a holiday. ट्रैफिक चल रहा है आराम से. मैं तो 9 बजे पहुंच गया था यहाँ.
नहीं, मेरी बस तो अभी पहुंची है.
Okay. Okay. So please focus here. Just go to these numbers. Okay. Go to these numbers and just go to the formula. How it has been arrived. Just tell me. And raise your hand and tell me how it has been arrived. Just look at the formula. Okay. Just look at the formula and arrive at this number. ये याशिका को दे दो. Just focus on what's saying. Go to the numbers and arrive at how this number has been arrived. ये नंबर कैसे arrive हुआ है बताइए. हाँ, रेवेन्यू डिवाइडेड बाय 12, विच मीन्स दैट यू आर ऑफरिंग 1 month क्रेडिट. ओके, तो इसका मतलब क्या है, देखो आपकी जैसे जैसे रेवेन्यू बढ़ रही है आपके डेटर्स भी बढ़ते जा रहे हैं. पहले 27 था, फिर 32 हुआ, फिर 36 हुआ, फिर 39 हुआ, 43 और 44. सो आपके डेटर्स बढ़ते जा रहे हैं. सो दैट मीन्स द डेटर्स आर कंज्यूमिंग कैश. ओके, हर साल आपकी जो रेवेन्यू हो रही है, आपके डेटर्स बढ़ रहे हैं, तो आपका उतना कैश कम जनरेट हो रहा है. ओके, so this is leading to increase in working capital. So that's why we have reduced from profit to arrive at the cash. So now look at the raw material. Go to the raw material and just see how the raw material has been arrived. देखो जो डेटर्स हैं वो तो सेल्स के साथ लिंक्ड है, लेकिन जो रॉ मटेरियल है वो किससे होगा, कॉस्ट ऑफ सेल्स से. सो कॉस्ट ऑफ सेल्स डिवाइडेड बाय व्हाट, बाय 6. ये 60 डेज है ना, तो इसका मतलब कि तो 6 से डिवाइड करेंगे तो 60 डेज आ जाएगा. इज द फॉर्मूला ओके? ओके, सो योर रॉ मटेरियल इज ऑल्सो गोइंग अप. So what happens is that you are maintaining. So here what we are doing is that we are saying that you have to maintain some raw material inventory. You have to maintain what? Inventory. आप जब आप business करते हो, when you do business Riya, what happens is that you have to maintain some inventory. Okay, fine. आपकी फैक्ट्री में इन्वेंट्री होनी चाहिए ना. You know, when we are doing business, when I was working in a company called SRF, which was in Gwalior, so we used to maintain 2 months inventory because we were getting our goods, raw material from south, from Kerala. So it used to take those days 15 days, 1 month to get the truck moving from Kerala to Gwalior. And our plant was fully automatic, continuous plant. It could never stop in its life. It has never stopped from the last 50 years. It has to keep producing the goods. Otherwise, if it stops, then there will be a big loss because the raw material will get choked in the pipelines and the pipelines have to be cleaned up and the plant has to be restarted. It may take 1 month to restart. So company cannot afford to close the plant. So we used to keep a 2 months inventory all the time. Okay? Whenever there was a transporter strike or trucker strike, so we used to be in great, tension. That when our inventory is going down and goods transportation is moving slowly, the trucks are not moving, so we used to keep a track. Okay, we used to increase our inventory. We knew that the trucker strikes are going to come, so we used to maintain 90 days inventory in those days. Okay, so that we can manage our plant. So here the inventory is equal to 2 months raw material, 2 months cost of sales. Okay. So here then we have finished goods. When you make your goods, when you make your final product, you will have some inventory lying in your factory. You know, whenever you go to a showroom like Marks and Spencer showroom, okay, do you find a lot of inventory there? Lot of cloths are there, a lot of pants, shirts, whatever, everything is there. So you find out how much inventory they have got. So they say we have 5 crores of inventory lying in this thing. So that is inventory. So you have to maintain your inventory, because without that you can't sell your goods. Okay. Now an e-com business, if you go to Amazon, then they don't have to maintain inventory. So you order it and you will get the material very soon. Okay, fine. But again, somebody has to maintain inventory for that also. Okay, from where they are getting. So this is finished goods inventory. How much is the finished goods? 30 days. So finished goods inventory is again on the basis of cost of sales, because the inventory has to be valued at cost. Okay, not at the selling prices. Okay. So all this will be your current assets. Now tell me the current assets have been going up or going down? Going up and going down. Shruti, the current assets बढ़ रहे हैं या कम हो रहे हैं? बढ़ रहे हैं. So they were 79,000 initially, and now they are 1,29,000. So this will take away the cash from the company or will add cash to the company? कैश बढ़ जाएगा कंपनी या कम हो जाएगा? कम हो जाएगा, क्योंकि इतनी इन्वेंट्री बढ़ गई है, इतने करंट एसेट्स बढ़ गए हैं. बट what happens is, as your money is getting blocked, both inventory, debtors, finished good inventory, but you also block the money of some other people who are called your suppliers. Because you are going to buy goods on credit for someone. Okay, so they are going to finance it. So sundry creditors are going to be your current liabilities. Okay, so sundry creditors are going to be your liabilities. That means, as your money is getting blocked in receivables, in inventory, in finished goods, you will also block the money on someone else, because you are going to also pay him after some time from the goods which you are going to buy them. Okay, जो आप सामान खरीद रहे हो सप्लायर से, उसको भी तो आप पैसा immediately नहीं दे रहे हो. So that they are financing your current assets. What they are doing? They are financing your current. So that's why the working capital is nothing but current assets minus current liabilities. The balance is called the working capital. So that means the company needs that amount to do business. Okay, हमेशा कंपनी का पैसा कुछ ना कुछ वर्किंग कैपिटल में ब्लॉक रहेगा. Is that okay? Now, in Japan, they call this inventory as muda. Muda means waste. Because any amount which is blocked in inventory, debtors, it's muda, it's waste. Because it is eating away your cash. Okay. So what they do is they have got a concept like just in time. Like suppose you are having a kitchen and you need sugar, tea. Suppose the shop is nearby. Instead of maintaining an inventory of tea and sugar in your kitchen, so whenever you are making tea, you will phone up and say, "Zara dena 2 चम्मच चीनी दे दो, 2 चम्मच वो दे दो, या छोटा पैकेट सैशे ले लो." तो आप तो इन्वेंट्री को मेंटेन नहीं करोगे. Suppose assume that a kind of a thing. So that means you don't have block any amount in buying sugar, tea, dal, everything. So all the grocery has been ordered as you require it. आपने सब्जी बनानी है, फोन करा भाई 1 किलो आलू दे दो, तो आ गए. आप घर में आलू 5 किलो नहीं रखेंगे. Okay, so Japanese people say it's a waste of money, which is you are blocking it in a factory. So you should buy it from a source which can deliver you immediately. Of course, this is a kind of a theoretical concept because you still have to maintain some inventory. Okay, fine. But they say that we have to maintain less and less inventory because it is eating away your profits. It is reducing your cash. If the cash flow comes down, the value of the company goes down. Okay, because हम तो future cash flow निकाल रहे हैं company का. So these are the net current assets. So this is the amount which is blocking your cash. Okay. Now, so changes in working. So last column is very important. Okay. The last column is that this was the working capital. Now it has come there. So how much has increased? 12,000. So 12,000 has to be reduced. The change in the working capital has to be reduced, arriving at the cash flow. Okay. Not the absolute amount. क्योंकि पिछले साल आपका 70,000 ब्लॉक था, अभी आपका 82 हो गया, तो आपका 12,000 एडिशनल ब्लॉक हुआ इस साल में, तो वही आप रिड्यूस करोगे ना. चेंज इन वर्किंग कैपिटल को तो ब्लॉक आपने रिड्यूस करोगे कैश फ्लो से. तो अब लेट्स गो बैक अगेन हियर. So increase in working capital has to be kept here. Is that okay? So here it is, increase in working capital. Is that okay? Have you got it? So why we take increase in working capital and not the net working capital? अंश, हम increase क्यों लेते हैं? Why not we take the absolute amount? हाँ, तो increase ही तो आपका कैश ब्लॉक हो रहा है ना, क्योंकि आपका कुछ कैश तो पहले ही लगा हुआ था, ब्लॉक था, अब और एडिशनल आपकी जो सेल्स बढ़ी है उससे कितना कैश और ब्लॉक हो गया, तो इंक्रीज ही लेंगे, ना कि एब्सोल्यूट अमाउंट. ओके, अंश देयर ओरिजिनल, हैव यू फॉलोड दिस? इज इट ओके? आपका चेहरा लटका हुआ है, मोबाइल नहीं आपके पास, इसलिए बस अभी रुक जाओ, 2 मिनट कर देता हूँ. यू शुड कीप योर मोबाइल, आई कैन गिव यू इफ यू कीप इट अंडर इन योर बैग. ले जाओ. Is that okay? Then repayment of loans. Okay. Now very important. So what we are calculating? We are calculating free cash flows from the of the firm. Okay. Sorry, I think I missed out. So what we are doing is, first we are trying to understand what are your cash flows of the company as a whole. Okay. कंपनी का पूरा कैश फ्लो कितना जनरेट हो रहा है, तो इस इज कॉल्ड कैश फ्लो फ्रॉम फर्म. ओके, इज दैट ओके? सो वी टेक द नेट प्रॉफिट. ओके, सॉरी मैं हम आगे बढ़ गए थे, यहाँ थे ना. हाँ, एबिट माइनस, सॉरी ये आ गया. सो फर्स्ट इज बेसिकली द कैश फ्लो ऑफ द फर्म. ओके, सो देन डेप्रिसिएशन हो गया, वर्किंग कैपिटल हो गया. ओके, फाइन. हाँ, अब ये है कैपिटल एक्सपेंडिचर. सी एनी कैपिटल एक्सपेंडिचर विच यू डू, every year we are going to add some assets. Okay, some assets become obsolete, so we have to change them. So that is going to take away the cash from the company. So any amount of increase, the replacement of assets. So either the company needs to replace the old assets, or company has to add new capacity. So company has to incur few new capital expenditure. So capital expenditure will come on 2 accounts. One will be the replacement of the old assets. The second will be the new assets to add more capacity. Is that okay? भाई एक कंपनी कैपिटल एसेट्स क्यों खरीदती है? 2 वजह से खरीदती है. कौन सी वजह से? First, Ria, just listen to me again. A company, suppose you are doing business. How many of you plan to do business? Just raise your hands, okay? कितने लोग बिजनेस करना चाहते हैं? आप करना चाहते हैं? गुड. बाकी लोग कोई बिजनेस नहीं करना चाहते, लेकिन आप बिजनेस में तो जाओगे ही ना. यू विल गोइंग टू वर्क फॉर अ कंपनी. ओके, सो एनी बिजनेस इफ यू डू, you require assets. Okay, from where you are going to do business, how you are going to do business, you are going to buy a building, you are going to buy machine, equipment. Now when you buy assets, so over the time you increase those assets. आपको एसेट बढ़ाने पड़ते हैं 2 वजह से. एक, आपके पुराने एसेट्स खराब हो गए, यूज्ड अप हो गए. आपकी प्लांट एंड मशीनरी 10 साल पुरानी हो गई, so now it can't be used further, or after 4 years become obsolete because the competition has gone into the new plants which are more efficient. So you have to just discard that and buy a new one. Okay, so either you are replacing an asset with an obsolete or depreciated asset, or you are going to buy a new asset to increase the capacity. अब बताओ मुझे कि assets क्यों खरीदता है एक कंपनी? What is the purpose of buying an asset by a business person?
पहले तो replacing old assets.
हाँ,
and दूसरा sales revenue expansion के लिए.
हाँ, नए asset खरीदने आप, capacity बढ़ाने के लिए. Is that okay? Is that clear? So the assets will be increased on account of 2 reasons. One, replacing old assets, worn out assets or obsolete assets, and second, you are replacing new assets for adding new capacity. So what I have done is, I have added some capex. Now it is almost equivalent to the depreciation. Look at the depreciation. So what does it mean? What does it mean? Is the company adding new assets because for expanding their business or for replacing their business? इससे क्या पता चलता है? रिप्लेस कर रहे हैं या एक्सपैंड कर रहे हैं? हाँ, रिप्लेस कर रहे हैं. Absolutely. Here, now when you are making your own statement, you can add some more and say that I am adding more capacity, and that should get built up into your sales also. जिस साल आप एसेट ऐड करेंगे, उसके अगले सेल्स में आपकी सेल बढ़ जानी चाहिए. Suppose you are going to say that I am going to add more capital, new machinery. सो उससे कुछ तो आपकी रेवेन्यू बढ़नी चाहिए ना. आपने वो पुराने एसेट्स और नया एसेट लिया है, पुराने एसेट की जगह, वो तो ठीक है, उससे कोई रेवेन्यू नहीं बढ़ेगा. बट इफ यू आर गोइंग टू ऐड न्यू एसेट, ओके, सो दैट मीन्स यू आर एडिंग मोर कैपेसिटी, यू आर गोइंग टू इंक्रीज योर सेल्स ऑल्सो. सो आपकी टॉप लाइन गेट शुड ऑल्सो गेट अफेक्टेड बिकॉज ऑफ एडिंग न्यू एसेट्स. नाउ टेल मी, व्हेन यू बाय एन एसेट्स, do you get your sales immediately going up, or there is a lag period? Is there a lag between when you add your assets and your revenue goes up, or it goes simultaneously? There is always a lag. If you add more assets, maybe not in that year your sales will go up, it will go up in the next year. Okay. So we say, now we used to, like when I was working in a company like Idea Cellular, so we used to buy a lot of assets. We used to put up a lot of towers, lot of equipments. Okay, we used to increase our capacity from say 5 lakh subscribers to 10 lakh subscribers. In those days, we were having 5 lakh subscribers say in Indore, so we added more machinery, and then the subscribers will go, the sales will go up in the next year or after some time. It will don't go immediately. Okay. So then when I was asking my CEO why we have invested so much of amount, he says there is a lag effect, because in the year when you add, you will have more depreciation, your margins will go down, but that's temporary in nature, because next year you will generate more sales from the equipments which you have added, and it will boost up your all the numbers. Okay, is that okay? So there is always a lag effect between when you add assets and when it gets reflected in your top line and your bottom line. Is that okay? So here what I have done is, I have not added any expansion of assets, but all of you are going to take some assets more than the depreciation and assume that the assets will go up and your sales will also correspondingly go up. Okay, fine. Then so we started with EBIT 1 minus T, add depreciation, less capital expenditure, increase in working capital, and then we have the free cash flow of the firm. Okay. So this is called the cash flow. So what was the profit of the company? EBIT was, the profit was, 28,000, or sorry, 24,000, and what is the profit? Cash, 18,000. So profit and cash are not matching. It's not the same thing. Whatever company earns is not that the company is generating that much of account, cash. So look at the last year, the company made a profit of 36,000, whereas company has generated a cash of 38,000. Okay, there is a difference between the cash and the company's profits. Is that okay? So this is called the cash flow, the firm. Okay. Now the last thing before we take a small break is cash flow for the equity shareholders. So there are two ways in which we can calculate the cash flow of the company. First is the cash flow for the entire company, okay, irrespective how the company has been financed. The second will be the cash flow for equity shareholders. Okay. Now the cash which has been generated for the equity shareholders is called from that the dividend is paid to the company. Company dividend कहाँ से pay करेगी? जो cash generate करेगी. So this is called the, so there is a word which I was thinking about, which is there to describe these cash flows. So I'm just going to tell you that. So here what we do is, instead of starting from EBIT, we start from net profit. Here we start from the net profit belongs to whom? The shareholders. Okay. So अभी क्या कर रहे हैं हम? दो तरह से कैश फ्लो निकाल रहे हैं. एक तो कंपनी का कैश फ्लो, ओके, और दूसरा कैश फ्लो फॉर शेयर होल्डर्स. हाउ मच द कैश हैज बीन जनरेटेड बाय द शेयर फॉर द शेयर होल्डर्स. अल्टीमेटली हमें कैश फ्लो फॉर द शेयर होल्डर इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू अस. लेकिन हम निकाल दोनों सकते हैं, लेकिन आंसर अल्टीमेटली एक ही निकलेगा, व्हाट इज द वैल्यू ऑफ द कंपनी फॉर द शेयर होल्डर्स. ओके, फाइन. So there are two ways through which we can calculate the cash flows, but the result will be the same. Okay, not the cash flows will be different, but the valuation of the company should become out the same. Okay, so it starts with net profit. ये net profit आ गया, ऊपर से लिया हुआ. Then we add depreciation. Same thing, depreciation add कर दिया हमने. जैसे पहले add करा था, अभी भी depreciation add कर दिया. फिर कैपिटल एक्सपेंडिचर कम कर दिया, सेम. सो द सेम फॉर्मूला यूज्ड हियर. देन इंक्रीज इन वर्किंग कैपिटल, सेम. देन लेस, लास्ट आइटम इज डिफरेंट, लेस रीपेमेंट ऑफ लोन्स. Company can take loan, company can repay it also. So this is net repayment. Okay. So if the company has got some loan and is repaying it, so all your repayments will come here. Okay. Fine. It will include both the principal as well as the interest. So it's like a EMI. Okay. Whatever you are paying, everything will come here. Whether it's form of principal repayment, whether it's called interest, and if you add new loans, it will be added here, and loans repaid will be reduced. So it's a net repayment. Is that okay? Fine. So then we arrive the number. So we'll get cash flow from equity. Okay. Fine. Is that okay? So there are two ways of calculating. So this is a break time now. Don't worry. Just 1 minute. Okay. So what you have to do is, this is the end product. आपको ये निकालना है बस अभी. Then we'll understand how do we calculate the value of the company. Okay? We have to calculate the free cash flows for the firm as well as for the equity shareholders. For the firm, we start with EBIT. For the shareholders, we start with the net profit, because the net profit belongs to the shareholders and EBIT belongs to the entire stakeholders. Okay? Fine. Break. So it is now up to 10:40. There will be break. And before you go for a break, just see there is an exercise which have been uploaded on the WhatsApp. So open that. That exercise you are supposed to do individually. Okay? And you have to submit your answers by next Thursday. आप कीजिए, आपके पास टाइम है, और आप थर्सडे को हर कोई आदमी उसको करेगा. And it will carry 10 marks. 5 marks will be for the exercise. 5 marks will be for the Viva, which I am going to talk to you and give you marks on the basis of what you have assumed. I am going to understand. Okay? Fine. तो जिनका थर्सडे तक हो जाएगा वो आ जाए, मैं उनका वाइवा ले लूँगा, खत्म हो जाएगा. जिनका नहीं हुआ उनको 2-3 दिन के बाद कर सकते हैं. Because and that almost 25 students. Okay? Those who are prepared, they can say we are ready. You submit it by Thursday evening. Okay? Fine. Try to submit everything by Thursday evening. Thursday evening is okay? आज क्या है? आज Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. चलो by Saturday डाल दो यार. संडे तक कर दो. संडे तक इसको कर लो, और नेक्स्ट ट्यूसडे को आई विल टेक द वाइवा फॉर एंटायर क्लास. ओके? फाइन.